I would say that my work is slow horror. I have to have some sort of narrative for myself to latch on to. Either when the paintings are all done, or while I'm painting, I kind of can piece them together and realize that they all kind of tell this story, whether intentionally or not. My name is Kevin Mosca. I live in upstate New York in Saratoga Springs. I love to explore the language of figurative painting through cinema, primarily through the genre of horror. In this body of work, it's all kind of places that the viewer can relate to, but also feel kind of removed from. I think that together they kind of create a mood that takes you to a place that's familiar, but still foreign. All the locations that you're seeing in these paintings are in other rooms of this apartment, and that's kind of out of necessity, as well as just being a good challenge for myself. The figure that you see the most is my wife. It's what can I use immediately? And if I have to become an actor, that's just what has to be done. Oftentimes, when I start a body of work, I will have a thread that I'm kind of latched onto, but it's very loose. And I'll kind of go on a spree of getting references, taking photos, recording things. When I take my photos, there's usually some setting up of different lighting, and then after that, usually it's shifting objects around, trying to get that frame that's in my head or in my sketchbook. But oftentimes it happens at night, and all the lights are out and everything. It's just kind of eerie. Like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. One of the big things that I love to look at is practical effects and how those practical effects have been made. Most of the time, I want to get that image directly out of the camera without having to use a computer or some expensive program. If I can make that happen, I'm gonna make it happen. I think that there's like a long history of people creating these illusions for film and for paintings, and that's one of the areas that's most exciting for me to explore. It's making the impossible possible. This is kind of like a setup shot of when I was prepping to work on this painting. This is kind of me working through how to make this special effect happen. I ended up putting a fabric stiffener in the dress and hanging it from the ceiling and lowering it, and then just finding the right lighting. It kind of resulted in images like these. I feel like while there are physical bodies in some of the paintings, I think that the objects, they're props, but they're also kind of like actors as well, because they give the presence of a figure without it actually being there. It's kind of like the remnants of what was or what's going to happen. It just gives me more characters to have at my disposal. It's been a good exercise for me to try and use this type of palette. It's kind of sickly. It's kind of uncomfortable. When you can play with color like that to set a mood, I think it can help the painting surpass the photo or surpass the reference that it's been built off of. I want to take you to a strange place, and I don't want you to be entirely comfortable while you're going there, because sometimes me going here can be uncomfortable as well. But I think that the reward of viewing and looking and thinking about the work can be gathering up memories and kind of bringing them to the surface. If I can get the viewer to feel a feeling that feels foreign to them or familiar, it might be mission accomplished for me. Once I started diving more into the theological aspect, I realized that to me, the Bible is kind of the greatest and most terrifying horror story you could tell. It's the story of God coming to earth and proclaiming the good news that everyone can be saved, but then ultimately, his people decide to turn on him and crucify him. I think that through that book, I've kind of shaped what scares me. Outside of the fear of God, there's just the fear of the supernatural, fear of things that are foreign to me. I think I'm scared of a lot of things. Getting hit by a car, getting sick, losing my fingers. We all have different fears, and whether they're practical or impractical, people either deal with them, push them to the side, or it's just kind of like a fleeting thought. I think that by presenting these things to myself, I can kind of work through these fears. I can't do true crime. I don't want to see an ER show, but I will paint something that scares me. Violence doesn't interest me. It's kind of the thought of violence, the thought of if something happened or what could happen. I don't know, I might just be torturing myself. I mean, I don't want to inflict my fears onto other people, but I also don't want to keep them all bottled in either. By painting these different things, it's kind of a way of purging that out. I still go to church. I still watch quite a few movies. I think that from growing up in that and then still practicing Christianity, I think that it's one of the only things that I feel like makes me feel small. I mean, I'm not trying to make people feel small in my paintings. How I feel when I'm in a church or when I pray, it reminds me that I came from dust and I'll return to that state eventually. These paintings are just kind of capturing moments before that happens.